And then I said, those tampons aren't for my wife. Those are for me to get caffeine straight into my bloodstream. You know, by shoving it up my ass.
Anal energizing.
I wonder if it would be...
Anal resurgence.
I wonder if it would actually, like, hurt you if you were to do that, except for, like, with a monster. Because monsters are, like, acidic, kind of, depending on what flavor you get. Like, I wonder if it would, like, dissolve the lining of your rectum.
Thank you for coming to the ER. What seems to be the problem today? My ass fucking burns! Okay.
Monster in anus.
Okay, we'll get you some cream for that. No! The inside of my ass burns!
My ass is going to fall out of my ass. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's the Tabby Tater Tots Club podcast.
Where we talk about anything that interests us, whether it be ass, more ass, or just general acidity.
Hopefully this shit's not ass. We got our drinks.
Yes. Dubby
Yes, Dubby.
got a Dubby.
Oh. Yes.
I've been waiting to say that for like 2 weeks.
Okay. We're gonna try those today, but other than that, and I can't have a whole lot because I already have a highly caffeinated beverage, but how have you been, Morgan?
You know what? I've been pretty good, actually.
Yeah?
Been working, been fucking around, yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Busy. I don't think there's really anything special to bring up on podcast.
Okay.
So how are you doing, Nick? Nobody
fine.
fucking cares.
Okay.
Please continue.
I'm just waiting for my tax refund, so that I can get, my taxes from last year paid off and hopefully, get me a new PC so we can get better at YouTubing.
Because Betsy do good, but...
Not Betsy, Bessie.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a hard-working
Old...
cow. I don't know. You know what's crazy?
What?
That in Spanish, poop and cow sound a lot alike because it's caca and vaca. So cow shit is vaca caca.
First it's ass, and now we're talking about shit. This is off to a great fucking start.
Technically, caca is the nice way to say poop. But if you want to say shit, it's mierda.
I'm not even going to try to say that because I can't roll my R's.
Anyway, yep, I'm fine. Everything's good. Like, literally, I'm not just avoiding. It's literally not a whole lot has happened.
Yeah, no. Although it's been fucking forever, it feels like.
It's
Since
just
we actually sat down and...
Well, with all of the extra side shit that we're doing for the channel, we usually only record one podcast a week, when before, like last year, like middle of last year, we were doing like 2 or 3 episodes a week.
Diversify the content.
Which I'm totally okay with, because these drain my energy a lot, and usually by the end of every episode, I'm like, let's do something else.
Usually by the end of it, you're like, I have to piss!
Yeah.
Or I have to take a shit!
Yeah.
And then we end at that.
So, Mr. Morgan, what flavor do you want to try first? We have blue raspberry, mango, orange cream, and fruit punch.
We're gonna do the one that I'm most scared about now. Mm-hmm. Even though it was the one I was most excited about. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do... Yeah.
It's fruit punch. And I thought that the starter pack was going to make a whole lot more drink, but it only says to mix, 14 ounces? So, I thought it was gonna be at least 20, but that's okay.
So for those that don't know, for whatever reason,
That actually smells really good. The powder smelled like those Flintstones vitamins that we took as kids. And there's not a whole lot left. You want just the whole thing. Swirl it around, sniff it, make sure your palate is ready for it. I'm gonna do like a wine tasting. For those of you who don't know what,
oh yes, for those that don't know, that didn't see, I think it was the last episode we announced it.
yeah,
We are now affiliated with Dubby, not sponsored.
yes,
So, and quite frankly, if we were sponsored, you'd still be getting the same reactions out of us.
out of him at least. Anyway, I would probably be a hell of a lot more excited because a sponsorship gives you direct money.
Yeah, but I mean, like, in terms of taste and stuff like that, like, oh, this is
tasting it?
good or
Oh.
this is shit. Because
Yeah, okay.
I don't care how much money a company offers me. I ain't
If it's
gonna
shit,
change.
it's shit. Yeah.
I ain't gonna change my. I'm not gonna endorse a shit project that I don't shit for.
Yeah. Yeah, so take a look at all those links there in the bottom right hand of the screen or in the description. Cheers, Mr. Morgan.
It's strong,
It is strong,
not like strong caffeine.
but like just the flavor.
Like this, it's like super potent fruit punch.
Yeah, I could probably use with another like 4 or 5 ounces of water to dilute it a little bit more.
It's like tart, I guess.
Tart, a little bit, yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna finish that. Do you want it? No? Okay.
What?
Yeah. That was quite potent.
That shit is good though.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna sit here and knock it just because it's potent.
I'm sure if you diluted it a little bit more, it would be fine.
Yeah.
I would give, as it is right now, I'd give that a good 6 out of 10.
I'd give it a.
It's not great. It's not bad though.
I'd give it a 6 or a 7.5.
Okay. Let's try the blue. As the blue raspberry. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see the.
So yeah, if you want to try these out for yourselves, use our code down there or up. Are we putting codes?
Yeah, the code is on the bottom right hand side of the screen.
Oh, use
You want-
Taboo Tots for 30.
I'm gonna dilute these a little bit more because there's a lot of sediment on the bottom.
Okay. For 10% off. And if anybody gets Grandpa's denture water, do let me know how it tastes because I am so fucking curious. So that video that clip at the end of the video, pretty fucking awesome, right? Yeah? Cool. I've been working on it in secret for weeks.
I put 6 more ounces in it because 4 did not do a whole lot. So these are 20 ounces of water. Let's do the blue.
20 ounces of my dick.
Yeah, there's still a lot of sediment in the bottom, but it could just because I'm not shaking it as much as I should. La cucaracha, la cucaracha.
Ba 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 ba.
That smells really good.
Hmm?
Go ahead and pour you some.
It smells like how I feel.
Sour. Slightly sweet.
Salty.
Salty.
It
Does
doesn't
not
smell.
smell salty.
It doesn't smell salty. I don't know where I was going with that.
Salut. Oh. Oh, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
It's not sour.
Again,
I'm sure if we hadn't have diluted it, it would have been a lot stronger. But like that's
yeah.
I'd give that an 8.
I'm gonna give that an 8 as well. Yes, mini guys. Yes, mini. Yeah.
If I was just drinking this on my own, I'd probably put like a little bit of sweetener in there, but like that's good.
Because Nick has heart conditions and I don't. So
Yes.
I can drink as much as I want and get heart conditions.
Yeah.
And then we could have a heart contest.
Right. This is the orange. Oh, by the way, I don't know if we mentioned it. That was the blue raspberry.
We did.
And this is the mango orange cream. Which I don't like mango too much, but oh my fucking god.
I don't like mango either. Why don't you just snort it?
That smells really fucking good. Look, if I was going to the gym or something, I might.
My what? Drink it or snort it?
Snort it. By the way, don't do that.
Yeah, don't snort liquid, guys.
I mean the powder, bro.
I know.
This one's actually called Calio Cream. That sounds like it might be Irish.
Foreign word.
Okay.
I'm not sure on this one. For some reason, I'm getting hints of banana.
Banana.
Yeah. Is that weird?
A little bit. I can definitely taste the cream. I can definitely taste the orange and the mango, like separately, but it's just a touch sour. But the mango is definitely the quieter of the two flavors, the three flavors.
Quieter?
Yeah. You can't notice the mango as much.
No. I don't know if I like that one. It's not terrible.
Yeah. Out of the three, surprisingly, I usually don't like blue raspberry shit, but surprisingly, out of the three, I do like the blue raspberry the best. That one I'd probably give a solid 7.
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Okay. Jeez.
One, because it's literally called mango whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you can barely taste the mango.
Mm-hmm.
So subtracting points because of that. And I just didn't care for it.
Yeah. I think 20 ounces was too much, but definitely more than the recommended amount of water is good, because it says between 10 and 14 ounces. I would probably do like 16 or 18 ounces. And maybe put it on some ice. That might be good.
For a party, this would be great. Like,
yeah.
pre-mixed water bottles.
Yeah.
Just get like a big set of them.
Yeah.
Or like the tubs. You know what I want to try next?
Huh.
Or Grandpa's denture water.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking curious on that.
I was gonna say, let's actually look up to see what it's supposed to taste like. I like to know things.
Well, you usually get those things wrong,
Okay. Do you actually want to know?
I
Or no?
guess.
Yeah. It says on the thing soaked and clean mango pitaya, but I don't know what pitaya is.
Do you mean paella?
Nope, pitaya. Pitaya.
I've never seen paella written, so I wouldn't know.
Pitaya. What's pitaya? Pitaya. Oh, dragon fruit.
Oh,
Dragon
okay.
fruit and mango. So I probably wouldn't like it.
Why is it called Grandpa's denture water then?
I have no idea.
You're supposed to know things, you idiot.
I do know things, but this thing I know no.
I know nothing about
Yes.
the no square.
No. Okay. And we're back. So we decided to do some conspiracy stuff because our one conspiracy theory video did fairly well.
And it was fun to do.
And it was fun to do. And I adore Wendigoon. He is my spirit animal. Shout out to Wendigoon. If you like this video, he does a shit ton of conspiracy theory stuff. Like, literally this
What
guy
animal is he?
a Wendigo. Because Wendigoon. Yes. His name is Wendigoon.
I get it now.
Yeah, his profile picture is like the skeleton head skull
That's
of
clever.
a deer with one of those 3 goggled thingies, night vision thingies. That's his. Yeah, it's really cool. If you like this video, go check him out. We're not going to watch all of these iceberg videos because there's like 20 videos, but we'll watch 2 or 3 maybe.
And after each one, do you want to sit and talk about it, or
Well, yeah.
and then move on, or move on to the next and then talk about them all at the end?
No, talk about them individually. Each.
Okay.
So the reason why I like this dude is because he's super duper into conspiracy theories, and he's a Christian. He likes ooky spooky stuff, but
His hair looks soft.
yeah, he's from Texas, and his most famous quote is, "Remember, kids, if you think the government wouldn't do that, yes, they absolutely would."
The government just has too much power nowadays.
Yeah. My favorite video from this guy is he did like a full complete breakdown of Ruby Ridge.
Really?
Yes, I think if this video does good, I think it would be really good to do either that one or Waco.
I always call it Wacko because the cult leader was fucking insane.
And the breakdown he did of JFK's assassination. That one's pretty good too.
I'm pretty sure we already did a video on Ruby Ridge though.
We might have. That sounds familiar. Either way.
But we can do another one, cause fuck it, it's our channel.
Yeah. Either way. Here, ready, set, go.
So there's been this image floating around for a while called the iceberg conspiracy.
Sorry, I forgot one thing and then we'll get into it. So the capture card the audio on it may or may not cut in and out. We are aware of this. We just don't know what the fucking problem is.
Yeah, hopefully it was just
God,
the
I'm dizzy.
HDMI cord that we used. But if not, we'll figure it out. That's why I wanted the audio on the TV to be pretty loud so that
you guys can at least
at the very least catch it on the microphones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what we could do if the audio is continuing to be fucky? We could take one of the old mics and just set it next to the TV.
Oh yeah. We can do that.
Pretty genius, huh?
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
List. And for those of you that don't know, it is a picture of an iceberg, and on it there are several separate tiers that gauge conspiracy theories from how known they are to how unknown they are. I'll actually throw it up now so you can look at it. As you can see, it is huge. There are several variations, but I think this one is the best, not only because it is the most well structured with different tiers and specifics for what each tier means, but it also is the most comprehensive. As I tried to find research for this, I'm telling you there was none. Like, no one had done a full breakdown of it. There's a couple people who did one or two, and then after researching it, people were saying that everyone who did full reviews of it was having their videos taken down. So,
I can't. I despise this man now. Would you like to know why?
His hair isn't soft.
No, because he has a picture of Rey from the new Star Wars episodes up on his wall, up there on the top right hand corner. That's the Mary Sue, the awful character that nobody likes. I'm just kidding, by the way.
Clearly, he likes her, him, it.
Him, her. It's a her.
Are you sure? Because apparently
yes,
not.
Her. Yes, it's a her.
Also,
Anyway, that was just.
Did you know if you run your finger across the mic, it mutes it?
Yes, we've been over this.
Oh.
Like at least twice. You'd be like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Like, yes, you did.
No, I know that if you tap it twice, it.
No, you just need to touch it.
Look, Look, I'm touching it.
Anyway.
we'll see what happens. So I decided, who better to do it than me? Technically, a lot of people. That doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is, because this thing is huge, every one of these phrases can lead you down an entire rabbit hole of research and investigation. Some of them are well-known stuff like UFOs or Bigfoot, but as you get into some of these later ones, it gets creepy. Like, you drag over some pretty scary ones like human flesh markets or children trapped in floors and things such as, but once you get really far into it, like tier 9, tier 10 stuff, it gets like God's ego death, or the universe was created as a test, and things like that that have like these whole networks and stories behind them that just aren't commonly known.
No,
go ahead and say right now, none of what I'm talking about means I believe it per se. I'm simply conveying what the conspiracy is because I think it's cool, and some of these are awesome. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to do a quick run through of the tier 1, and then the next video will be tier 2, and etc. Like I said, the further you go down, the more crazy they get, so this one's pretty much to whet your appetite. Although there is a lot of cool stuff at this tier that I learned in research for this video. Some of the ones we'll get into in later videos are absolutely crazy, like the City of Broken Candles, or the Valley of Headless Men, and things such as. But, like I said, I'm going to go through the entire chart, so we're starting with tier 1. The title and description for tier 1 is Crazy Head, and the description reads, Mainstream Conspiracies and Unsolved Mysteries. Most of this stuff is well documented and known to a good portion of the Western citizens. A lot of common theories may be grouped in broader terms, or may not even appear on the chart at all considering their meaning and popularity. Also, quick disclaimer on this first tier, this doesn't really apply to...
I'm going to try and up the quality a little bit, but I can't do that very much because I'm on my hotspot, and my hotspot sucks. But we will see. Let's just do 480 because it's a 360. We'll see if that makes the quality a little bit better.
The others, but some of these are so well known, or you've heard so many times, I'm not even going to cover them, like fake news or Bigfoot or UFOs. Like, we all get it. I don't need to go into detail about them. But without further ado, let's get into this, and thank you for watching. Atlantis. Original records of Atlantis date back to Greek times, I believe, between Sparta and Athens, of a continent located somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. And since they couldn't have got to North America, that would require there to be something in between that has since disappeared or sank. Next up, we have one of the...
What do you think about Atlantis? Do you think that's real?
I want to believe it is. That sounds cool.
I don't think that there are water people living underground, but I do think that maybe there was like a tiny island continent, kind of like maybe, well, Greenland is giant, but you know what I mean, that like maybe earthquake happened, fell into the water, something like that. Maybe.
I like to think that there are underwater people that could teach us how to breathe underwater.
I think that maybe that's, if there are water people, I think maybe that's what the Bermuda Triangle is. Maybe?
I do believe that the Bermuda Triangle, or Atlantis, the supposed location of Atlantis, is in the Bermuda Triangle.
It's definitely a possibility.
Don't quote me on that, but that's something I've always just assumed.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
The Mandela effect. Most
Oh,
people
I know
probably
this one.
agree with this,
I
but
absolutely
it essentially says
believe in
that
this.
there are parallel universes that cross over with each other in minor ways that we're not aware of. For example, those who remember the Bernstein Bears from
Yep.
their childhood may be surprised to know that it's actually the Bernstein Bears, and that several discrepancies like that exist. Like the Monopoly Man
They were
has the
Jewish.
monocle, and yada yada yada. This is a cool one. It's very deep. It goes on for itself. So if you're interested, check it out. GMO
Yeah, I have no idea.
conspiracy regards GMOs that are in several foods from fast food and markets and things such as, which are used in.
Did you know that all lemons are GMO? Because
Did you know that I'm out of fucks to give?
Yeah,
Okay.
because GMO stands for genetically modified organism, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, lemons don't occur in nature, like at all. You know what it is?
Disappointing?
No, it's a cross between fuck, I think it's a God damn it, what's the fucking first thing that it was? It's a cross between two fruits.
Like a lime, maybe? And
a bitter orange and a citron. Or a citron.
that sounds like it's from fucking Transformers.
Yeah, the
Citron.
lemons aren't natural.
I beg to differ on that one.
Why?
Because where do lemons come from?
I just told you, a bitter orange and a citron.
No.
A man grabbed one, and then the other, and then boom, lemon.
Yes, through science, sure.
Yes.
But you can grow lemons. Therefore,
And?
they are grown or found in nature now.
Not naturally occurring, though. If you took all of plants and left them alone without any man to touch them and gave them a trillion, billion, quadrillion years, there would never be a lemon.
I mean, if they coincided correctly, sure. Could happen.
I guess so, but like, it took the meddling of man. We played God to create lemons.
That, just putting it like that is disappointing.
Yeah. Like, the best you could do is this orange testicle or yellow testicle.
Do you even know colors?
Maybe. It's to be
Determined.
determined, yes.
Are you okay?
Conspiracy
Perhaps.
to cause food shortages and hunger in people, so essentially the whole get the customer addicted idea. BEK, or black-eyed kids,
Oh my
is
god, I
a
fucking hate
recurring
these.
phenomenon in the supernatural community of small children appearing with blacked-out eyes. You can follow this rabbit trail pretty far, but pretty much surface level, it's just creepy kids who appear whenever tragedy happens. So people chalk it up to ghosts or extraterrestrials or what have you.
Interesting,
This is
I've never heard of
Antarctica,
that.
Which there is a
Really?
slew
Yeah.
of Antarctic conspiracy theories. Everything ranging from giant holes appearing in the middle of Antarctica, to government bases being down there, to that's where the world elites hide. I mean, you could spin forever on this. So moving on.
I could see
Next is the basic
military
thing.
bases being
For those
there.
of you that don't know, before the Columbines, while this one seems vague, later tiers get into it more specifically. But essentially, in the Old Testament of the Bible, there are several references to giants happening, and obviously today there doesn't seem to be any. However,
That's what you think, fucker.
This conspiracy, as we get into it later, applies to the deep state and cover-ups and things such as. So I don't want to spoil any of it yet, but this is a good mention that
I believe in
extra
giants.
smart, so to speak. We'll get to it later.
I do
The
too.
Elisa Lam incident. For those who
Oh
haven't,
my god, I
full-
haven't thought about this one in fucking forever.
I think I know what that is, but real quick, just not even to go into it very deeply, but part of the giant conspiracy is that people who are born with an extra toe or an extra finger, they think that those people are descendants of these giants.
Fucking why?
Because it mentions in the Bible that the Nephilim, which are the types of, because in the Bible, the deep lore of the Bible, the giants were born because the Nephilim, which are a type of angel, was sent down to earth to have communion with us. so that we would know God basically. And these Nephilim, because they were here on Earth, were susceptible to the sins of the earth, and they slept with men, and the children of those relationships were the giants. And those giants, or the Nephilim, I think, were said to have 6 fingers. I might be getting some of that wrong, but somewhere along the line that it makes sense to where, like, either the people who spawned the giants or the giants themselves had 6 fingers or something like that.
There is a specific location in the world. I'm not going to state where, mainly because I can't fucking remember for the life of me. But also, we don't need people going there and getting killed and all that fun stuff.
Uh-oh, yeah.
Because it do be a dangerous place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember that much. But there is a specific set of mountains where giants are rumored to reside.
Like, still to this day?
To this day.
Huh.
And they avoid humans at all costs because of ridicule and just like the riots or... Yeah, the riots.
Yeah.
You know, chasing after them with pitchforks and stuff.
Yeah.
The torches, you know.
So the reason why the flood happened in the Bible, mostly, was to get rid of the giants. But it does state somewhere, I think it was in the Dead Sea Scrolls or something like that, that you know, there were survivors of the giant race. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, that would make sense if there are still some, like, actual full-blown giants.
I'm not gonna state my source on recording, but I trust it to no end.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's all that I wanted to add to that. Come on.
Have you heard about
On
Elisa Lam?
that video,
I think
like
so.
I have. You may not know who Elisa Lam is, but it is a story that is worth your time. She was a college student, I believe, at the Hotel Cecile in California, who for some reason, it's seen in security camera videos, runs onto an elevator, freaking out, keeps jerking around thinking something's following her, runs to her room, and is never seen alive again until she's found 3 days later in the water tank.
Yes,
of the
yes, I've
hotel.
heard of this.
There was
Yeah.
never any evidence of a killing. No one was ever found in connection to it. And it is one of the wildest videos ever to watch, knowing that she was never followed and there was never evidence of anyone following her. It's really strange. I'll leave you to look into this one yourself. But it was one of the first videos I remember that kind of got me into.
This specific thing freaks me the fuck out really bad because just a little side tangent story of little Nicky boy, little
Nicky Poo.
child Nicky Poo. I was a little bitch. I was such a little pussy. Oh my god.
Not much has changed.
No, absolutely not. Not hardly anything has changed. So a little side tangent to the side tangent. I was so fucking traumatized just seeing The Mummy from The Mummy. I was like maybe 5 that I didn't sleep for about 2 days, and they took me to the hospital to try and get me to like he needs to sleep. That's how traumatized I was just seeing that. And every time I would go to like Hollywood Video, or there was no Blockbusters around our area, whatever local video shop, I would always avoid the horror section because just seeing the images on the covers of those movies freaked me the fuck out. And I was obviously very, still to this day, very traumatized to the trailer for a cape shit movie called Constantine. It was a supernatural thriller movie.
I feel like I've heard
it
of
deals with the devil from the Bible, and angels and stuff. Like the angel Gabriel's in it and everything. And there's this scene where Keanu Reeves' character John and Rachel Weisz, I think her name is, her character are running down a hallway, and she's like, I feel something. Hold on, something's wrong? She's like, what's wrong? She's like, I don't know. And then she gets whoosh through the wall, like busts through like 5 or 6 different walls, through a window, and just starts soaring through the night sky towards the angel Gabriel, who's supposed to bring about the coming of the devil's son. Anyway,
So, what you're saying is his flirting skills were so good it swept her off her feet violently.
sure, that's one way to look at it. But just that one image of her being blown through walls traumatized me so much. And then I was probably like 6 or 7, and then when I was like maybe 15, 16, I actually watched the movie, and I'm like, yeah, this is really cool. I like the supernatural elements. I really like things that are of the occult. I like watching stuff like that. And it's comic shit, so I like that. And then that scene happens, I'm like, no.
Would it help if I told you they weren't real walls?
Well, obviously. But I was just like, I recognized like the area that they were in, and the characters were like, no. And then it happens, and I'm like, I actually had to like pause it, and I'm like having a panic attack the first time I watched it. But no, just I actually did see this.
How many times did it take watching it to not have a panic attack?
It's just the second time. The first time I had a panic attack, second time I was able to watch it all the way through. I'm like, this is a little freaky, but I'm okay. I've seen that movie so many times already. But no, seeing this actual video, I watched this actual footage on 4chan back in the day. And it reminded me of that scene because it's a hotel, it's a hallway, and then the elevator, and spooky, scary, supernatural elements to the whole case. And I'm like, no, thank you. And then I think there was a documentary on Netflix or HBO, one of the two, that like goes over the whole thing. And I remember just sitting there watching it, and I'm like, this is my nightmare.
This or the scene?
No. This actual, because this happened in real life.
I know. Yeah. I'm asking, like, was the documentary on the scene from the movie or okay?
Elisa, yeah. The documentary was on Elisa.
I just wanted to clarify. I figured that's what you meant, but
yeah, the whole being freaked out and running away from something, and then disappearing, and then finding the body floating in a water tank. That is my nightmare. My second nightmare is driving off of a bridge, but yeah, that's actually something that I'm very, very, very afraid of, like an irrational fear type of thing.
My dad used to pretend to push us off of cliffs. I don't like heights now.
I bet. Moving along.
This whole, I don't know, like creepy dark web, whatever. The gasser of Mattoon. I have never heard of this one before until researching it.
Someone hide the beans.
The beans.
Take away his power.
The beans. That occurred in Mattoon, Illinois. Investigators mostly chalked up to mass hysteria and people who left their fuel lines running. But everyone who it happened to, which was dozens of cases, claimed that it was an individual that ran up to them and attacked them with invisible gas. So,
dude, mass hysteria is so freaky to me. To think that either something does happen where multiple tens of maybe even hundreds of people experience the same thing and there is nothing to back up their claims, or that we are just so like either neurologically or maybe even spiritually linked that we can just hallucinate en masse together. Or that is so freaky to me.
Here's a third option. Just consider it. A bunch of humans are a bunch of bitches.
That could possibly be it too, yeah. But I've heard of so many different cases of mass hysteria. It's not even funny.
I have to, but
it freaks me the fuck out thinking about it.
Also, I meant to say this on the Melissa Jean? I forget her name already.
Yeah, I forgot her name already too.
Elizabeth?
It maybe the water tank girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she was having like not narcolepsy.
A psychotic episode.
Yeah, like schizophrenia.
Yeah. I don't know how old. I think they said that she was in her early 20s or maybe early 30s. I don't know. Or late 20s, early 30s.
I don't know. She looked fairly healthy.
Yeah. I don't know. Probably never know.
I may
Yeah, have fun with that
redo
one.
my
Go and
research
tell
into
Brad.
that.
So I've never heard of this.
I have.
But the picture on the left, have you ever heard of Have You Dreamt This Man?
No.
I hope to God he doesn't bring that up because that freaks me out so bad.
What about the Black Hat Man? Or the Shadow Man?
Like when you hallucinate on Benadryl or what? You know what's freaky? Actually, okay, so I think I know what you're talking about. I have heard of that, obviously. There's a couple of different names for him. But my wife says that when she has fever dreams, she sees him. However, he's not shadowed and not shadowy. He's not like covered in blackness. He doesn't wear a hat or anything like that. He's covered in mold. She calls him the mold man. Like bread mold. Like black and green and fuzzy. And just spores all around him.
You need to send your wife to an insane asylum.
I was going to tell her if she ever sees the mold man while I'm in the room to tell me so that I can burn down the house. I will get a can of gasoline. I don't even believe in the Pope. I'm not Catholic. I will go to the Pope and have him bless the gasoline and then douse the house in gasoline. In the holy gasoline.
The power of Christ. The power of Christ burns you.
Exactly. Yes. Sorry.
But the closest way I can describe it, so that we might be closer to be on the same subject, for sure, is, you know those neighborhood watch signs?
The little character on the sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, so I know pretty much what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people have different names for him.
Yeah. But
Which, by the way, I owe him $15. Which is why I'll never take Benadryl again, because I don't want to be like, you owe me interest, motherfucker.
hold on. What the fuck did you just say to me?
I took too much Benadryl as a teenager one time, and I asked him for $20, and then he's like, I only have 15, but here you go, kid. Next time you see me, you have to pay me back. And that's why I haven't taken Benadryl since, so I don't have to pay him back.
Are you being serious right now?
No!
I was like, maybe you need an insane asylum.
Probably. But no, going back to this, there's a conspiracy of someone drew an image of a man that and I'm not going to show you because how badly it freaks me out.
It's not going to freak me out. It's a picture.
I know, but I have to see it to show you.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But it looks pretty similar to the one on the left. And it's just like, have you dreamt this man? Call whatever. And it's like an SCP thing, but it's based on an actual conspiracy theory where there is one single person that everybody has dreamt. And they think that it's like a spirit walker, or I don't remember exactly what the term for it was, but
Is it my dad?
maybe.
Headroom incident is
fuck.
something that happened in 1987 in Chicago when two broadcast stations suddenly cut out and cut to a video of a man wearing a Max Headroom costume, which is a character from British television, who began talking random jargon and swearing and then had someone spank him on camera, and then
What the
the
fuck?
broadcast cut out. What's interesting is that there's never been anyone named a suspect, there was never any evidence found, and it's pretty much become a whole Reddit thread trying to figure out who this person was, what happened, and name them. So it's
That's
an
all?
interesting mystery to go
That
on,
image has
but
freaked me out for like
from
10
everything I
years,
could
and that's
find,
all?
It's just two guys messing with the media. And then for the
Cool.
You are such a bitch.
I am such a bitch. I know. You don't think I know? I fucking know. And then we'll probably just do the second video because it's like over half an hour long. We might do more of this later. But I definitely don't want to do like the entire tier list. We might just do like episode 2 today, and then
Or we
next
could-
episode we can do like episode 5.
Or we could like write the numbers down and then put them in a hat, and then whatever number we pull out is what we watch.
Maybe.
You know,
But
add a bit
there's-
of suspense to an already suspenseful.
Yeah. I definitely want to do the last level, obviously, because I want to be like, ooh, I want to know like the deepest, darkest, dankest shit. But
It's just a guy named Dave.
yeah. The last and final conspiracy.
Dave.
Because you know, I don't want to steal Wendigoon's thunder. If y'all like him, go check him out.
What is up, boys? We are now on to tier 2.
Dude, I fucking
There's
love
a few
that
things I
shirt.
need to go ahead and say at the
That's
beginning of the
bullshit.
video.
I don't
both
like
so
that
they make
album
sense
cover.
and
What
some
the fuck
disclaimers
is
I
that?
need
Is
to
that
get
like
out
a
of the way now.
sphinx but a black dude?
After doing research into this tier, some topics, especially ones I'll cover near the end of this tier, I get why people are being banned from YouTube for talking about it. There
Oh,
are
boy.
some things that are very controversial that I will have
Oh,
to
boy,
kind of speak
juicy.
in code a little bit, but
Oh.
all of the terms I say you can simply search and find out for yourselves. Just know I've got to be careful with some of it because it will get you instant zapped. Also, something I figured out while researching
Oh
this,
boy,
several
very good.
of these conspiracy theories work in tiers off of each other and
Well, this is
themselves.
4 years ago.
Like
The
what I
terms of
mean
service might
in
have changed.
tier 1, I mentioned giants. Well, there's one in this tier that is a more specific description of giants, and then after that, there are certain accounts in history that can be explained with giants. So they sort of work in stairs of each other, if that makes sense. Also, some of these theories are specifically setup theories. What I mean by that is that it'll be a concept or belief that will be mentioned that may not make sense on its own, but it will apply later, or at least it's something to keep in mind for later. Like, for example, a lot of the ones dealt with in this tier have to do with auras and spiritualism. The
Yeah.
reason being, a lot of the other theories don't make sense across the whole iceberg unless you're familiar with those concepts.
Oh no.
And last thing, a few of these I'm going to introduce my own theories into. What I mean by that is while researching, I've seen parallels or connections drawn between two separate things. So I will kind of skip around within a tier, like I'll do in this video, to connect one topic to another directly. And that is entirely my own guess on it, essentially. Without further ado, there are a lot of these, so let's get started. But thank you for watching. Tier 2's title is Deep Researcher, and it's described as theories and Twilight Zone level stuff. Most of these entries can easily be studied through the use of mainstream medias, but they require a good grasp of how the world works to be fully understood. Common people rarely go this deep. First up, we have lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is a well-known concept that during sleep, some people can control their dreams and what happens in them. I, for one, am one of these people. However,
Yeah, my
the
wife can do
theory
that.
comes in where people who can lucid dream can either affect things that happen in the real world or affect their thought process by manipulating things in the dreamscape. Next up is MK Ultra. MK Ultra is a rather well-known experiment that happened with the CIA in the 1970s, late 60s, in which people were brought in and influenced with psychotropics and other mind-altering drugs for the
LSD.
CIA to view the effects of and potentially use in PSYOPs, which again was something mentioned in Tier 1. This is a rather well-known event. Most of the theories stem from the idea that either it's still going on or it was done at a great larger scale than the populace is aware of. Next up we have fluoride. Fluoride has to do with the fact that in the US, fluoride is inserted into the tap water in order to help with tooth enamel and digestion and yada yada things such as. The conspiracy comes from the fact that fluoride is a chemical and can therefore chemically castrate or influence other biomechanical things in the body. So,
You know what else is a chemical?
Sperm.
No. I was gonna say 90% of the fluids we ingest.
Water
like
is a
Mountain
chemical.
Dew. That too.
Water is a chemical. Water
So
is
is caffeine.
Water is a
and-
chemical compound.
Yes, I suppose.
H2 or hydrogen and oxygen. Yes, I got there.
Dihydrogen.
Did you just tell me to die?
No, dihydrogen oxide, something like that. It's really funny because when you say it like that, I think it's dihydrogen oxide. H2O1. Yes. Okay. So a lot of times, if I've seen a lot on TikTok and Facebook and stuff, the man on the street type things, they're like, "Hey, did you know that they're putting dihydrogen oxide in our drinking supply?" And they're like, "Oh, no, really? I didn't know that. Can you test for that?" It's like, "Yeah, you can definitely test for that. You can buy kits. Here, buy this for $20. Save yourself."
Be immune like me
Yes, it's
for $20.
very
Okay,
funny.
I gotta go check the porch real quick because
Oh, okay.
I'm having anxiety about.
Oh, Morgan's expecting a package. He can talk about that later if he wants. Anyway, pausing. Okay, I have pissed my whole dick, and Morgan's package has not arrived.
Yeah, big sad.
Fluoride.
This will be more tied in later. It is
Audio.
believed to be a side effect of fluoride poisoning or fluoride control, as people believe. This is our first look at one of the more kooky ones. It is a belief that the Back to the Future movie predicted 9/11. The evidence of this is saying such as the shopping mall that takes place in the movie is Twin Pines Shopping Mall, or the fact that the first block of the movie shows 9:55, which on a hand dial would be 9/11, and things such as, and this all connects to the idea that the people who did 9/11 make movies and blah blah blah, you get it. Dowsing or is an idea that using a fork of metal, people can pick up on sonic vibrations from the earth in order to find underground supplies of water, oil,
I just want to
etc.
say
It's more of a
that
wives' tale than anything.
they are really stretching on the McFly one.
Yeah, it's
Like, oh no, a clock showed a time.
well, the real conspiracy theory would be that the creators and writers for The Simpsons are gods.
I believe that 1,000,000%.
Absolutely. they predict everything.
Admiral Byrd, and this is one of the first really interesting ones in my opinion. Admiral Byrd was sent to Antarctica shortly after World War II in something called Operation High Jump, which was essentially an idea to figure out whatever the Nazis were looking for in Antarctica during World War II, which relates to this place called Base 221, which was supposedly a Nazi outpost in Antarctica. When he returned back, he was put into isolation for 36 hours and was told not to speak of what he found to anyone under any circumstances, to which he was then given the Medal of Honor and told to leave. While this is odd, many connect it to the idea of what the Nazis were looking for in the first place, which is something known as Agartha. Which brings us into our next topic, Agartha. In theory, Agartha is a civilization located beneath the Earth. This gets into a larger idea called hollow Earth theory, that inside of the Earth, it is essentially a flipped gravitational pull, and there's an entire world operating beneath us. What's interesting throughout history is how different civilizations and leaders have been dedicated to finding this quote-unquote Agartha, such as Hitler during World War II, and other ancient tribes have tales of people that live beneath. How that's connected is since Agartha is what Germany was looking for in World War II, and since that's where
that official?
Admiral
That's what they were
Byrd
looking for?
looked and then was told
never
to
heard
shut
of
up
that.
and never talk
Yeah.
about it. Many believe Admiral
I'm gonna call
Byrd
bullshit on that
found
one.
Agartha and then was told to simply never talk about it.
Viewers.
Projection. Astral projection relates a lot to lucid dreaming, although it's a little bit different. The idea of astral projection is that while sleeping or in a trance-like state, someone can remove their soul or their consciousness from their body and walk around and influence things. Experiments with this include hospitals who have put messages on the roof, and people who claim to astrally project have projected above the hospital, so to speak, been able to read what was on the roof, come back down, and tell the doctors what they saw. Next up.
Oh fuck. The astral
You could not have chosen a worse time to pause.
Yeah. The astral projecting thing, I don't believe in it wholesale, but I could believe that it's possible. because of stories that I've been told about people doing stuff, shit like the whole hospital thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see it being, if it's like scientifically witnessed, I guess, then yeah.
Mhm.
Like if the entire point of the person being in said hospital is arterial, is that what it was?
Huh?
Arterial?
What?
The thing that we're talking about.
Astral projecting?
Yeah. Oh wait, I'm thinking of arterial bleeding.
Oh, okay. But no, I have a friend who lives in Missouri that claims to astral project. And a lot of the time, if I like have a dream about somebody in my life, or even have them on my mind for a significant amount of time, I'll call them and just be like, "Hey, is everything okay? What's up?" Just to see if they're doing okay. And I thought of that specific friend for like 3 or 4 days for some reason, and I called him like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, you called?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "I expected you to." I'm like, "I haven't called you in like 3 months." I was like, "Yeah, well, I astral projected into your dreams last night." And like, "Oh?" And he's like, "Yeah, when did your tree get chopped down?" And I'm like, "Last week." But he has family in the area, so maybe his brother or his mom told him about that. But like, that's a little freaky.
I wonder if they're gonna mention mine.
Your what?
I don't know how to explain it, so we'll wait until if it comes up.
Okay. I want her to use this pic for something. LOL. Okay, very cool.
Nephilim is what I was referring to
Oh, yeah.
earlier when speaking of giants. Nephilim is a more specific concept. Specifically in the Old Testament, it says that some of the angels that fell to earth whenever Satan was cast out had children with humans on earth.
Okay.
And that created creatures known as Nephilim or
Okay.
giants.
So the giants
In
are the
Old
Nephilim.
Testament,
Okay, I got that
several
little
of the
twisted.
tribes that were wiped out,
Wait.
to be wiped out by God,
So-
were these Nephilim creatures.
Would a female giant's body parts be called... I had a joke and I forgot it.
Would a horny giant be called a nympholim?
A vagina?
You tried.
It was so much funnier. I had it in my head and then I started it and it was just like,
You tried.
I'm so sad.
Famous characters such as Goliath from the Bible are specific instances of it. Where this goes further is
Yeah, it's crazy because people believe that these creatures were like 20, 30, 40, 50 feet high, and really they were only like 9 feet high, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the idea that they still exist in modern day, or small tribes and civilizations are made up of them.
Planet Fitness clubs are
Pacquiao.
open 24 hours,
What's funny
so you
to
can work
me
out whenever.
We're coming in
is-
early. Stink.
They were
in
probably
the
getting them high and then shooting them up, so they got shot up in both ways.
Okay.
I
I don't like you anymore. Okay.
The Yaltov Pass is an interesting one that I will absolutely make a video on someday. But the short version is 9 researchers went missing in Russia in the Siberian area, and when they went to be found, they were all dead, either from having all
yeah.
of their bones shattered, their jaws ripped off, other horrifying scenarios
Oh, God.
that in no way seemed natural, to the point that the coroner's report on it says they were killed by a, quote, overwhelming compelling force, which could be literally anything. Like I said, it's a very interesting story and very creepy, and I encourage
is.
you
It was a
to check it out
Yeti.
yourself. Declassified documents is also super vague. This is probably just referring to the JFK files and other government documents that have been released in recent years, and the fact that they proved and disproved several conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah. The entirety, quote unquote entirety, of the Epstein files are supposed to be released today. If there's anything juicy in there, we can cover that next time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
One of which is another concept on the iceberg, tulpas. Tulpas are what we would traditionally figure as an imaginary friend. Essentially, the idea
Oh.
that someone can think an entity up so much and imagine them to the point that a spirit in
Like Slender Man.
Or your
Like-
mom.
Okay. You don't have to be a dick.
Yeah, well, you're a dick.
But no, like there's a theory that Slender Man was never real until recently when our collective consciousness created him, basically.
Did you hear about the 2 girls that killed another girl because of Slender Man?
Did you know that one of the girls who kind of not the instigator, but I guess the one that kind of just followed along in the murder, she's going to be either she has been released or she's going to be released very soon.
Oh.
And she's like 20 or something like that.
And they were like 13 when they got arrested.
Yeah.
So she was in for at least 7 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
habits that being. So the idea that imaginary friends kids have, or ideas that always set in your mind, are not merely ideas but are now possessed by a specific entity. So don't worry about that
Dad?
monster under the bed too much. Men in Black is a concept that is rather well known, that government agents who simply wear a suit and use fake names appear to cover up evidence often. This relates to theories such as Polybius, which we'll get into later, or people going missing, and it's essentially the deepest level of government.
I don't know if I ever told this story, but one time when I was working at Wendy's, a unmarked black sedan.
You have.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, if you don't mind me asking, do you guys work for the government? And then one of them just looked at me and just went and drove off. So either they were fucking with me or I was right. So
Probably both.
yeah.
Cover up you can go, that completely nameless and identificationless people will show up in black suits and change things however the government wants them. The Boy in the Box is a real-world case that happened in 1957 in Philadelphia, in which a boy's body was found in a box on the side of the river, and he was never identified. This was weird because no one nearby reported a missing child, no orphanages reported missing children, nothing. It was just a body found in a box for some reason, which implies murder or foul play, but no one ever knows who did it, and there's never been any connection made. Most theories relate to the idea that it was a cover-up by an orphanage or things such as, but it doesn't change the fact that it's odd that a child could just disappear and no one would notice. Reality simulations is another setup.
Here's a conspiracy theory. Stop saying things such as fucker. That doesn't make sense.
Basically, the whole Matrix idea that reality itself is either one giant simulation for everyone or certain individuals. Clown sightings are in reference to in 2016, whenever various people showed up in clown costumes with knives and weapons and began threatening people in public. What's interesting about this is ask yourself, do you know of anyone that dressed up as a clown? Or have you heard of anyone dressing up as a clown? And why did it happen in thousands all across the US at once? No one's ever came forward, there were never any public plans made, but yet, all at once, they just showed up and then went away. Weird. Divination is the idea that one can see the future or have premonitions of the future
through
I believe supernatural means. So essentially,
absolutely,
through meditation or summoning, someone can figure out what will happen in the future.
Hang on,
Space
rewind it. I
is
spaced out.
exactly what it says. Space. Plans made.
That's fine.
But yet, all at once, they just showed up and then went away. Weird. Divination is the idea that one can see the future or have premonitions of the future through supernatural means. So essentially, through meditation or summoning, someone can figure out what will happen in the future. Space is fake is exactly what it said.
That's what I was talking about.
What?
Division?
Divination?
That.
What were you talking about?
That.
Obviously, but what are you in reference of? Like, what do you... That's what I was talking about. What were you talking about?
Sometimes when I sleep, I can predict the future, but like I can't control what is yet to happen. But like during like the actual situation, I'll be like, I've seen this before, and then I'll know where. It's so weird.
I've never.
It's like deja vu, but on meth.
Yeah, I've never specifically like seen a specific event in the future, but I've known things were going to happen. Like I knew that my dad was going to pass away like a week or two before he did. And you know, like in serious situations, I've been able to be like, something doesn't feel right here, stuff like that. You know.
I'm just glad to know that I'm not the only one that experiences that shit.
Yeah, I mean,
except for the fact that he said like meditation and
yeah,
summoning, and like I don't do either of those.
We're probably thinking of something
closely
similar, but not quite, because
yeah.
I mean, it's happened to my wife where the I don't remember what part it's called, but the transfer case, I think is what it is, on my Jeep was just rattling around underneath, and we were gonna go to Twin, and we were like on our way to Twin, and then my wife got an incredible gut feeling that we shouldn't, and she's like, I will open the car and jump out if you continue to go. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't, and we borrowed my grandpa's truck to go, and when I got it taken to get looked at, and they took it out because you only need it if you want to put it in fourth gear, and I didn't have enough money to fix it, so I just paid them like $100 or $200 to take it out. And I'm like, what would have happened if I had taken that going 80 on the highway? It was like, oh, that thing probably would have gotten shot up into your ass and you would have died. And I'm like, oh, very cool.
No, yeah, you were like, I like things being shot up in my ass.
Okay.
Haha, gay joke.
Yeah, but yeah, I do believe in divination to an extent.
What's infuriating is like I can dream it, but I don't know when it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
and I can't change the outcome of things.
Yeah,
so it's literally like having a superpower in a way, but
gay.
Like being stuck in superhero kindergarten.
I suppose.
LA oil rigs was interesting, and I had no idea about it until reading this. Apparently in LA, regular oil rigs are not up to code or sightly for the city, so they're hidden in completely normal buildings like this. Every floor you see is fake. All of it is just an exterior covering, and inside is just a working oil rig, and these exist all down the street in LA. Also, this isn't really a theory, it's literally what it is. There are oil rigs working inside of fake buildings in LA.
That's
Ghost Girl is
kind
also
of funny.
very fake. Visual was real-world events that happened in 1962, in which the government started launching nukes into the atmosphere and detonating them, essentially to see what happened. It was called Operation Fishbowl because of the shape that the nuclear cloud would take when that high in the atmosphere. Not only did this probably have disastrous consequences on the weather and environment, but the whole thing Oppenheimer was afraid of, that the nuke could light the atmosphere on fire and kill us all, not 20 years later, they were directly firing them at the atmosphere to see what would happen. So, good job, team. Archdemons and Archangels is another idea that comes from Christianity. Originally, Archangels were the lead warriors or chieftains of the angels.
What?
Oh, he said Christian, so
Oh,
I flipped you off.
I've actually never heard of archdemons before.
Because you're pretty much the only Christian I know.
Yeah? Really?
I think.
Well, Christian. Oh, you might want to bleep that out. My bad.
Just creating more work for me, aren't you?
Yeah, 127. Why do you write your U's like Y's?
Why don't you?
Because a U isn't a Y. A U is a U. You fuck?
You.
That's a little bit better, but it still looks like a Y.
You.
Why do you have a fucking tail on it? Just do... There you go. That's a U. You fuck? Whatever, man. I mean, some people put a cross on their sevens, and that's fucking weird. Yeah. Some people put a cross on their Z's, and that's fucking weird.
It becomes a Z.
Yeah.
In the UK, they pronounce it Z.
Yes, I know that.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, archdemons.
So as they were cast out of heaven, they would become archdemons. So this is just the idea of these very powerful demons and angels existing. The Philosopher's Stone is an idea that was originally put forward by Charlemagne the Great of what is now Holy Roman Empire. That's it. The Philosopher's Stone was the basis of what is known as alchemy, which is essentially converting...
Why are you doing that?
Doing what? Because I can.
Okay.
one element into a different kind of element. This stone was something he wrote about several times in his findings, that when approaching another element could simply turn it into something else. So what ancient societies would know as magic, we would know as extreme radioactive properties or whatever have you with what theory you're following. What's interesting is the Philosopher's Stone, as it's mentioned, is
radioactive. That means it can turn people into dead.
My ass has extreme radioactive properties.
He's not lying.
been found, although there are things similar. So it is, like I said, essentially the bedrock of what is now alchemy. My red is not your red is the once kind of novel but now overknown concept that just because I see a color one way does not mean you see a color one way. We could see completely different colors, but because we've both spent our entire life thinking that something is blue, we both call it blue without knowing.
I don't believe that. Unless you're colorblind. Unless you are colorblind, like
Or
my
retarded.
grandfather. Or that. Like my grandfather is red green colorblind, so I think red is brown and green is blue. But like if I were to point to that, it'd be like blue. You unless you're one of those two things, you would see blue. Like maybe the shade is different. I would be like, that is like a dark, between dark and medium blue, like maybe a navy, and you're like, oh, I see sky blue, and it's like, okay, cool, but it's still fucking blue.
We see the same thing then.
Yeah.
So we just disproved that theory right there.
Yeah.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
We each see different kinds of blues.
We didn't even have
It's
to
just
try
that
to
concept.
disprove it.
Vampires, while at first may be seeming odd, it does make sense in the grander scheme of things that it's on this list. For example, take old world ideologies and think about why they believed in vampires the way they did. Things such as certain people need to be staked through the heart, or tied up, or in some cases flipped upside down in their coffin. What would
I never understood the stake to the heart thing because, yeah, that's my weakness too, dumbass. Shoot me with the silver bullet. Guess what? I'm gonna fucking die.
But it won't be of lead poisoning.
Okay.
Because bullets are made out of lead usually.
Yes.
And silver bullets are made out of
Silver?
silver.
Yeah.
So you won't die of lead poisoning, you'll die of death.
Yeah.
the
A
reason
gaping
for that
hole in
be
your chest?
Unless they had seen something that made them think that was necessary. And it leads into this whole idea of maybe our understanding of humans in history isn't what we think it is. Aura is another setup one. It's essentially the idea that humans exude this spiritual energy around them that changes with their movement.
I think
believe
that's
that.
believable. I don't
And
believe it
this
wholesale,
goes
but I can
into
see that.
gravitational
I believe
pulls
it.
and sonic vibrations of the earth and things such as. Francis Levy's handprint is interesting. I didn't know anything about this until doing the research for this video. In 1924, a man named Francis Levy was a firehouse worker who, while cleaning a window, got ordered to go away on a call. On that call, him along and 7 other crewmen died in a fire. After this whole event was over, someone tried to spray the window of the firehouse and his handprint would not come off. This got to the point that they used bleach, acid, pressure washers, all of it. And it became a novelty around the town. People would come to see
Interesting.
it. The glass company came to try to see if they could figure it out. But for whatever reason, this handprint was perfectly formed onto this window. The ending is kind of ridiculous though. In 1944, a boy who was throwing newspapers through one and broke the window,
Ah, fuck.
ending the legacy. But it is odd that this handprint stayed completely unfazed by all of the removal process for 20 years. Scripted is exactly what it says. The idea that
Oh, I can
companies
believe that.
and elites make up what
Yeah.
happens in the games, even if the players aren't necessarily aware of it, in order to drive revenue in the right direction, or ticket sales, or blah, blah.
Think about it. Just even your layman's knowledge of football. Like, how come...
Ball, go, foot.
Yes.
That's it.
How come there are like 6 different football teams that have never even been to the Super Bowl, much less won it? It's because they're from poorer cities and they don't win the auction. Basically, I do believe that all of the football teams come together and they're like, okay, this year's Super Bowl is going to be in fucking Atlanta. Can I hear $1 million? $1 million to Philadelphia. Do I hear $2 million? $2 million to Dallas? What fucking... I believe shit like that happens, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like, I think Detroit, which is probably the poorest city that hosts a professional football team, either that or Baltimore, Detroit's never even been to the Super Bowl.
Money.
Yeah,
Snuff cinema in
because
itself
they had to go get the milk
is a real
first.
thing. It's simply the idea that people will actually take videos of people being murdered or raped or things such as and sell them on the dark web or in shady circles.
It's
Where
true.
most of the theory comes in is who makes these may be higher up elitists, or at least the buyers might be. So while
I wouldn't consider it a snuff film per se, but I've seen shit on like even just 4chan that's super duper fucked up.
Yeah.
Like people being run over and torn apart by animals, and surprisingly enough, the one that like actually has stuck with me the most, even though it's not gory at all, is a thing called Shovel Dog, where this guy is literally just beating the fuck out of a dog with a shovel. That traumatized me, and I bawled my eyes out. Like, even just thinking about it, holy shit.
Was the dog okay?
I don't know. But no, there's snuff material even on the clear web.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is a real world thing, it gets a lot more creepy when you think about who may be consuming it. Gang stalking is a phenomenon that is mostly observed in schizophrenics, but it is the idea that several mundane people are following you at any given time. So what that may mean practically is whenever you walk up to the mailbox, your neighbor looks at you. Whenever you drive to work, a car pulls up beside you and it's kind of going the same speed. And when you get to work, someone keeps glancing at you. The idea of gang stalking is that all these people are in on it and are conspiring against you for some reason. This is also seen a lot in conspiracy theorist circles, with ideas that people who know too much are being followed by essentially men in black in disguise. Experiments on humans, also super vague,
Men
but
in
as
yellow.
mentioned before with things such as MK Ultra and experiments that we know happened in World War II, it's kind of a real thing. I guess the theory would be the extent of it or the modern.
You know, it's kind of funny. I've seen people on Twitter, especially now with all the Nazi talk that's happening, like Elon Musk is a Nazi, Trump is a Nazi, whatever. They're all like, oh, well, without Nazis, we wouldn't have fucking, like, insulin or whatever because they experimented with pig pancreases on humans. Like, yeah, that's cool. However, don't use that to justify Diet Hitler, please.
Yeah, Hitler had a sexier mustache.
Sure.
And this will end.
This is like really, really fucking late.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to literally the start of the video where we went about our lives and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
My dad had knee surgery.
Oh,
He stopped breathing like 5 times.
cool.
I wish he never started breathing again.
Okay.
So if you're watching this fucker, which honestly I don't know why he would,
Yeah.
fuck you, and I hope you asphyxiate on your own jizz.
Okay, cool.
Inevitably lead to a cataclysmic event of tectonic plates smashing together and earthquakes and storms and what have you. It's essentially an end of the world idea. The Large Hadron Collider is a real thing that exists in, I believe, Germany. But the entire point of it is it works as essentially a giant gun to shoot particles at each other at speeds of light. What's interesting is the last time this was done, it created a new particle called the Higgs boson. What it essentially did was prevent the machine from being used further. And I should also mention before this firing happened, there was a shock wave that ripped through the machine, damaging it and making them take more time to repair it. A physicist theorized that since time works as a fourth dimension, that shooting two particles together at such speeds would theoretically create a black hole. But since the way time and waves work, and there's people who can explain this much better than I can, shock waves ripple backwards through time in order to prevent us from causing an event that would theoretically destroy the future version. This all has to do with the idea of time as a fourth dimension, and we just move through it linearly, although it can be manipulated, and yada yada yada. It's really cool stuff. Look into it yourself if you like. But that
basically, the reason people think that the reason why there was a short in the collider, basically, it's more complicated than a short, but the reason why there was a short in the collider is because an event happened in time space where it prevented the collider from being used further, because in that point in time in our reality, if it had not shorted out, it would have caused a universe ending event, is basically what he's trying to say. So something in the past came to our present to short it out on purpose.
My dad?
Probably. Let's say that present you was going to click a button that would destroy all of time and space. But past you, came to the present to stop you.
First of all,
that's what happened with the collider, basically.
First of all, past me would never do that. He would come along and just be like, go, 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 go.
Okay. I'm just saying that was the gist of what he was saying.
Oh, and then present me would be like, K, K, K.
All right.
And then future me would be like, yay, yay.
The World War II Black Book was a book that was found in Berlin in 1945 that had the name of several British citizens, in fact thousands of them, with their names, addresses, and places of work that were essentially on a hit list, so to speak, if Germany was to win the war. What's weird about this is why the Black Book would still exist at such a point as 1945, when Germany was pushed all the way into Berlin. Two most interesting.
At Domino's, get the pizza you've always wanted,
wow,
but never
pizza!
dared to get.
So
with any crust and any toppings for $9.99.
Interesting.
Theories that I found on this tier, and I believe that they're interconnected to each other. The first is the people of the mount theory. The background of it essentially works like this. In the 1820s, there was an animal researcher who was trying to figure out why lemurs existed in some parts of the world and not others, and seemingly skip giant areas. This was one of the first groundworks that led to the idea of Pangea, and that all of the continents were originally pushed together. However, even going off of Pangea, that would mean there was a giant portion of land that just doesn't exist anymore, with the idea being whenever the plate shifted, it simply sank below water. The name of this unidentified continent was called Lemuria. Get it? Lemuria. Near the coast of where this supposed Lemuria is supposed to be is an area known as Mount Shasta. Locals have said that at night you can see people leaving in robes, and these people are tall, like much taller than any person can be, 9 to 10 feet. Supposedly beneath Mount Shasta is a completely hollow ground, and that the survivors of this Lemuria sought it for shelter and have lived under there, untouched by society ever since. In 1904, a researcher went to Mount Shasta and said he found miles and miles of underground caves full of gold and silver and crystals and things such as, but whenever he put together a team to go research it, he disappeared, which is weird. Most of what I found on Lemurians and the people of the Mount, again, relates back to Hollow Earth theory, which is why I think that was mentioned so much in this stage. But the idea that there is this untouched race of people existing in underground caves in the modern times. This also relates to something else on this tier, which is crystal skulls. There are 13 perfectly made crystal skulls that have been found variously around the world, but what's odd about them is while they're all made exactly the same, no one can place where they came from. They were each recovered from different dig sites and seem to have the same properties as one another, yet no one really knows where they came from. And every accusation where they came from, such as pre-Columbia or Spain or whatever, has been proved false. According to the legend surrounding these skulls, though, they supposedly contain energy. Anyone who touches the skull or comes into contact with it shares their memories with it, and then that is passed on to the next handler, and so on and so forth. What's interesting about this is part of what the researcher mentioned who got lost in the Mount Shasta cave in 1904 is that they communicated using crystals. When I was reading this for this tier, keep in mind these are two different theories, I thought it was wild that these crystals that Lemurians have to supposedly communicate with each other seem to be the same things that these skulls were that supposedly communicate with each other, and no one knew where the skulls came from, and it related back to Lemuria. Again, to clarify, I don't believe in this, I think it's neat. So to encompass this whole theory together, especially with other stuff seen in the tier, that would mean that the Lemurians did go underground but found either the Agartha beneath Earth, or at least hidden passageways that work all the way under Earth, and there is an entire civilization of humanity existing apart from ourselves underground, and periodically their belongings, such as these crystal skulls, are found in other parts of the world. So there's my huge headcanon for secret underground mole people. And that will do it for tier 2. This was a long one.
Thank you, Wendigoon.
My ass!
Your ass hurts?
Hey.
Oh, okay. Well, this was very, very informative, very, very interesting. We might do this again soon.
Hopefully we can actually use this goddamn video.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think that when it shows on OBS that there's no audio coming in, that's when it starts cutting out. So hopefully, since I went in and deactivated and then reactivated the capture source, that will fix it. Hopefully. But yeah, this shit is very, very interesting, and I'm too much of a pussy to watch this kind of shit by myself, so I'm glad that I have a friend.
Who?
What?
Who's your friend?
You, fucker.
Oh, I wish I could say the feeling was mutual.
Wow. Guess who's getting written up? Just kidding.
I'm sorry, that was very cold.
Just a little bit. But
yes, you're my pal too.
My pal? Do I have a friend in you?
No, you have a pal in me.
Do you know what YouTube poops are?
We've been over this.
Oh, yes, we have. There's one that's very, very special in my heart that is Toy Story, and they just spliced together the song in the beginning of the movie to make the guy sound like he's singing, "Boy, you better suck my motherfucking dick," instead of "You got a friend in me." I just think that's funny. Anyway,
thank you guys for watching. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Hit subscribe if you're new.
Comment below which theories you think are the most believable and which ones you think are the most shit.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the most believable and what's the most shit? 1 being the most shit.
Yes. I think that the out of the far out there, a little bit more wacky stuff, I do think that the underground people one that he just talked about is the most believable.
Oh, absolutely.
Besides like the divination one and like the other ones that weren't as kooky.
Yeah.
And the most shit one, honestly, I think is probably like there actually being like an entire civilization under Earth. Like, yeah. I can believe people living in caves or like subterranean, like little coves or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But an entire like hollow Earth, I think that's pretty shit.
No, especially because we have ground penetrating radar.
Yeah.
And, you know, tractors.
Yeah.
That dig.
Yeah, like I don't believe like 7, 8, 10 miles underneath the Earth there's civilizations, but I think maybe like 1 or 2 miles under the Earth, maybe there's like coves and caverns and stuff that people could live in. Yeah.
Yeah, and they come up every now and then to scavenge and
do seances.
No. What kind of hidden civilizations are you part of?
The ones that sucky pee-pee.
I do not want an invitation.
Remember to leave a tip in our tip jar if you want to contribute to us getting a new desk or new PC. Check out the Twitter. Check out the Redbubble. I am conjuring up the creative juices to make more designs for that here soon, hopefully. Check out the Patreon. Maybe we will update that with a new movie review eventually. Check out dubby.gg and use code TabooTots for 10% off of your order.
And you will get...
if you choose to get the starter pack, yeah.
Yes.
They said that it could be random color. So we just happen to get red.
Do you think I could return it and be like, I want boo?
Boo. Probably not. But, yeah, thank you for joining us. This is probably the longest episode we've done in a while. Join us next time when we Wendigoon even harder.
Dad?